I think at this time of year, it's really important, because it's going to be its prime importance is catching all of those, oak leaves and beech leaves and things that could be falling into the pond from the trees surrounding the garden. But there is this added benefit of protection against predators. And those predators are going to be just as hungry. It's going to be harder for them to find food elsewhere in autumn and winter. And those pond fish are such an easy target at this time. They're an easy target anyway, but in the absence of all of this planting, which was formerly cover for those fish, with a lot of that gone, the poor pond fish are more vulnerable than ever.
Yeah, no, true. It's interesting. You talk obviously today we're just focusing on fish, but the impact of the cold weather doesn't just impact the fish, does it? It's other animals too. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, you're saying from a basic point of view, the pond net is a great purchase, but are there any Tetra products that you think can help prevent an unhealthy pond if fallen leaves are a problem in someone's garden?
So we're never going to stop every single leaf from falling in the pond. There's always going to be a build-up of sludge in the bottom of the pond. And that's going to be coming from, the fish waste, but also a lot of that sludge is going to be coming from the decay of plant matter, both pond plants and surrounding plants dropping their leaves in. And we're never going to stop all of that coming in. So there is going to be a build-up of sludge in the bottom of the pond over the life of the pond. Indeed, all ponds will tend to fill up over time. What we're doing is we're halting what's called a succession. A succession is where a pond would start off as a nice wet hole in the ground, and it would then just start to fill up with more and more planting and more sludge in the bottom, and then sort of marshy bog plants move in, and then shrubs, willow and alder and stuff, shrubs that can deal with wet soil move in, and eventually we haven't got a pond anymore, we've just got a bit of wet ground. That's what nature wants from the pond. Our job as the pond keeper is to stop that happening. So we've got to be removing lots of that sludge frequently. And we can do that mechanically, as we'll talk about a bit later on. But we can also rely on biology to help us, and we can use some of the Tetrapond sludge remover, which will break down some of the organic matter that's in that sludge to help keep the sludge layers down. Now, if you've got a pond that's sort of got 2 foot thick layer of sludge in the bottom of it, and you put 1 dose of sludge remover in, you can't expect it to sort of disappear overnight.
Why not, Dave?
Why not? I know. Why can't we make vaporizing sludge products? Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, but by adding sludge remover, we can then be helping to keep the buildup of sludge down and just slowing down this succession process. And by keeping levels of sludge down. And then using things like pond vacuum cleaners can be useful, using those a couple of times a year to just literally hoovering out the sludge from the bottom of the pond.
And you say to use those twice a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a big upset to the ecology of the pond, so it's not something to do regularly. But it, in early spring and early autumn can be a good time when we're doing this big maintenance on the pond to get lots of that sludge out and try and keep the organic matter out. We can then be, that sludge is just going to be slowly decaying, and ultimately it's giving off nitrates and phosphates. Phosphates are a weird old chemical in water because it can reversibly bind to the sludge. So if we're taking out lots of that sludge from the pond bottom, we can be removing bound phosphates as well. So it really does have a big advantage for the pond. And we want a bit in there because that's going to be a substrate for lots of invertebrates and things which the fish will love feeding on, but we just don't want too much. And a small pond in the garden is going to accumulate lots of sludge very quickly, with lots of pond plants in it and lots of fish food going in and tree leaves falling down on the pond. It's going to fill up with sludge pretty quickly, and we've got to stop that.
Yeah, I guess as with most things, it's about balance.